Yeah, Trap Media USA, like, share, subscribe, all that. Shout out to everybody that's tapped in. Wake, bake, and the culture up early watching my favorite sports channel, Fox. And Colin Cowherd, who on there, Nick Wright? Yeah, them two are my favorites. But look, let me see who I want to give appreciate. Oh, shout out my guy Barrow, man. I got a video coming with that soon. But shout out Obaro out in Africa, getting his social media started, his YouTube channel. Uh, Hold on, let me look up his Twitter real quick. But I'm gonna do a video on this later. Let me see. Obaro. Damn, my shit ain't popping up. Anyway, it's a video on that coming soon. But shout out to Obaro. He's debating on what weight class should he fight at. But yeah, this is why we pushing this IBO Renaissance over here with these two situations, the Ugas and the Andrade. These are two examples of why we need to be propping up the IBF and IBO American sanctioning bodies, one in New Jersey, one in Florida. They've convinced us that the IBO means nothing, and they've told us what matters, and we need to start dictating the narrative on what we hold value to, what's important to us, what history we want to uphold. Because when we erase the IBO, we pretty much erase the history of the greats that held the IBO. And we are upholding, because you always hear, oh man, the green belt, the green belt, this green Mexican belt that black people hold so high. You know, it's crazy. You know, we had complained about, it's crazy. We would complain about Canelo treatment. We'll complain about how these other fighters get propped up and black fighters don't. But we'll still push the narratives that we have been programmed to push. And it's it's really like crazy that I have it's really crazy that this IBO Renaissance push isn't getting pushed harder, because if you don't like one thing, if this store isn't treating us right, well, let's see what this store can do for us. If this store has too many belts, which we don't like in boxing, and this one only has one belt each division, it seems like a no-brainer for people to get behind. But we want to go with the narrative that Master push. So it is what it is. So it just helped me to keep calling out the nonsense, as I've been doing with the WBC and WBA. I have a WBC video coming soon on what is the real WBC title at 135. But yeah, so Ugas had been telling everybody that he's getting treated unfairly, coming off a historic win, probably the best win in Cuban history, or one of them. And he's getting forced to fight some guy that, you know, hasn't earned his spot. Of course, a non-black Cuban, non-black Afro Latino, but he's getting forced to fight this guy, and he had to go through all of this for finally the WBA to say, "Hey, man, you know what? You can't fight Spence," which I think is crazy, because they were going to allow what's your boy's name, Triple G and Murata to fight in Japan. They weren't enforcing the Laura triple. They weren't enforcing a Laura fight to consolidate the bill. I think Murata had the super and Laura has the regular. They wasn't enforcing that fight. So if I'm Laura, if they went through that fight and Japan didn't close its borders because of the new variant Omicron, I would want a lawsuit as long with Ugas. Do you have something against Cubans? Do you have something against Black Latinos? You know, we seen the situation with Michael Fox and the tweets that came out from somebody that's associated with your brand, that's working with your brand. So are you anti-black fighter? I mean, why do you not want a black face to be the face of your body? It seems to be some type of bias. So, you know, what's going on? What's really going on? And Ugas had to go through all of this fighting and media outrage and YouTube channels putting pressure to finally, I think, you know, Al Heyman stepping in and I think that's part of the reason Spence released the video that he's in the gym to kind of show them so they wouldn't have an excuse. It still was too much. Even I don't think Ugas should have apologized at all. What are you apologizing for when they were wrong? You shouldn't have to fight this hard. Triple G and them didn't have to fight that hard. They just let them do a unification with the WBA, IBF, and IBO. They were going to let that go through. But I think part of the reason they're letting that go through is that money that they were going to get from that Japan fight. When it was going through, it was big enough to where they were saying, F that money with Spence and Ugas. We're going to hit this Asian market, which is a very huge market, a huge populated area. And, that'll be good enough. Whatever we lose out on that, we just lose out on. But I think when that fight fell through, now that money isn't there. Those sanctioning fees aren't there. Now the Ugas Spence sanctioning money matters. So it's just clear racism in boxing. Hashtag racism in boxing. Get that going on Twitter when you see situations like this. We have to put pressure on these organizations. I mean, if because y'all still want to support them. Now, for me, I just want to pour back and support what the organization's doing it the right way. And thus far, I like the IBO's rules with their computerized ranking, so it's less politics. And I like the IBF that's strict with their mandatories, their weight limit. They've been carrying it properly these last of recent years. So, and the other issue I have is with the WBO. They kind of been trying to sit in the cut and stay silent, but you'll see subtle moves like when Andrade petitions him and Eddie Hearn petition to the WBC, and they let the IBO know that they're petitioning trying to get the Jamal Charlo fight. And the IBO comes immediately and issues a mandatory when this man is trying to get a unification. So how is it okay and that all of these sanctioning bodies can accommodate when Canelo is trying to do something like that? But when Andrade and two black fighters are trying to get in position to unify and undispute and stuff like that, the sanctioning bodies seem to want to step in. And I think that's very unfair. And I think it's time that we not only step back from these sanctioning bodies, but we start upholding those that are doing the right way. And for me, that's the American IBF and the American IBO. Um, it's just been too long, and we can't continue to cry about certain treatment and still uphold these bodies. So let's stop that history of the WBC talk. Let's stop that. Oh, the WBO, they ain't really, we don't know where they stand. They just showed you where they stand in this Andrade situation when he's trying to get a fight with Charlo. He told them that he petitioned to the WBC. And let's stop same thing with the WBA. We know where they stand. So let's just keep it clear and let's all get behind this IBO renaissance. That's what I want to see. Um, Trap Media USA. Shout out to the sanctioning bodies doing it the right way, but WBA, WBC, and WBO clear racist, anti-black organizations, and they'll never get my support. I'm out.